الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. So talking about the 7 organs, العين والأذن واللسان والبطن والفرج واليد والرجل, eye, ears, tongue, stomach, private parts, hand and the foot. He started with adabul ayn, as to what is not allowed with ayn and what it should be used for. The ears, what should not be heard from the ears and what it is created for. Tongue, and then he says that guard your tongue from 8 things. First of those is lies, in seriousness and in joking, both. And the second is breaking of the promise. The third is ghibat. 4 is dispute and argumentation and debates with people. That's where we ended. So he's saying that, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that if you argue with people and you debate with people, then it is going to cause problems to the one who is saying it, and it's not going to keep people in peace in their life. The disputation, the argumentation, debates, they will harm the one who is addressed, and it will make him feel arrogant, and it will criticize him. And it also includes praising one's own self, and then as if he's proving that he's superior in intelligence and knowledge. And then he said that these things disturb the peace in your life, because if you debate with a fool, then he will harm you, he will somehow annoy you. And if you debate with a more intelligent person, then he will detest you, so you will never be at peace in disputation and argumentation. And then he said, that's where we ended, that with this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that he has said that whoever leaves an argumentation while he is wrong, then Allah Ta'ala will build him a house in the outskirts of paradise. And if he leaves an argumentation while he was right, then Allah Ta'ala will give him a house in A'la al-Jannah, in the highest of paradise. So just leave argumentation, even though that you are right. Even though you are right, as far as that is, this is what I said yesterday. As far as that's not against Shariat, right? But sometimes, you also have to leave an argumentation, even it is within the matters of Shariat, but when it is not your decision that is getting affected. For example, I gave you an example yesterday. You and your wife have a difference of opinion, right? She is not on deen, and she does not want that your daughter wears hijab, for example, right? You know it is for the daughter to cover up. Now it's a difference of opinion. You're talking to your wife and you're trying to convince her that she should wear it, right? I told you that this is a difference of opinion, but again, this should not, and it is sort of like it is a disputation, but there are adab of disputation as well. Our problem is that we do have difference of opinion with people, but we do not maintain adab. The way that we talk to others, it is very bad. Our voices go up, the way to address people is so bad. This is our problem. And then other people think that we don't have akhlaq, we don't have character, we don't know how to talk. You go to madrasa, you study ilm, and you don't even know how to talk properly, right? And they will not look at as to what are you talking about. Then they will only pick up on our tone. So there are adab of having differences of opinions as well. So please understand that. But having said that, sometimes there is a difference of opinion. Sometimes there is an argumentation, there is a dispute, and that is also on the matter of Shariat, but it is not affecting our life. This is not affecting my life, right? Example was husband-wife, where I was getting affected. My child was getting affected. Our children were getting affected. But say if it is not affecting me at all, right? One of your friends come and he starts arguing with you on a matter of deen, right? You try to convince him that no, my friend, this is the case. He says, no, I don't agree. Now, what should we be doing? Should we still continue with that debate? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also given a solution to these sort of people. Other person is not come to talk to us with sincerity. His niyat is not that if you prove it to him, he will accept. He is there just to argue with you. There are people like that, isn't it? Then Allah Ta'ala says, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. That if ignorant people come to you and try to argue with you, try to debate with you, even if it's on the matters of deen, Salaamu Alaikum, alright, I'm sorry I could not make you understand this, I'm sorry about that. Just stop it. Stop it. There's no point talking to him about all of that. There are many people that you will meet, or you might have already met that, they just argue for the sake of argumentation. But as far as it is not affecting your life, right? He's just trying to prove a point against a thing of Shariat. It's not that you leave right away. Maybe you try with a small little statement, and then you will check out that if what he's saying, is he really sincere about it, or he's just trying to argue with you for the sake of argumentation. If you think that he is that person, then leave it. Leave it. Alright? So, this hadith, that leaving argumentation will get people a house in a paradise, if they are wrong, right? Of course, if I'm wrong, I should in any way leave my argumentation. Still, Allah Ta'ala is giving me ajr for that. If I'm right in what I'm saying, and you leave in the argumentation, at that time, Allah Ta'ala will give you a house in the highest of paradise. Always understand it. It is very, very important practically as well. Because we argue a lot. And then, as he said, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, that it doesn't get you anything, but the peace is lifted. Right? If you have, I give example of husband-wife a lot because it happens the most. It happens the most. People argue with their wives, wives argue with their husbands the most. And this is the most common thing. But, just leave it. Please leave it. With a hope of ajr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright? It's difficult because as I said yesterday, our ego, especially men, how come did she say what she said? I'm right, I'm the boss. The boss is always right. Okay? Please. Okay, alright, boss is always right, but let's not consider yourself the boss at that time. Then, he says, وَلَا يَنْبَغِي أَنْ يَخْدَعَكَ الشَّيْطَانُ وَيَقُولُ لَكَ أَظْهِرِ الْحَقَّ وَلَا تُدَاهِنِ فِيهِ فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ It should be أبدا. فإن الشيطان أبدا يستجر الحمق إلى الشر في معرض الخير ولا تكن ضحكة للشيطان فيسخر منك فإظهار الحق حسن مع من يقبله منك وذلك بطريق النصيحة في الخفية لا بطريق الممارات. He's saying you should not allow shaitan to deceive you when he says, azhir al-haqqa, make the haqq, make the truth very clear, very apparent, and do not dissemble. Don't do that. Make it very clear. This shaitan putting wasawis, right? Speak clearly, speak loudly, make it very clear. Because shaitan will always try to push or to make the foolish people go towards evil and present to it as if it is something that they are doing good. That's what shaitan does. Shaitan will always deceive you in the sense that he will tell you that what you are doing good, but because people are ignorant, because people are jahil, they don't understand, they cannot differentiate between right and wrong, and they will take the advices of shaitan and will go that path. This is common trick of shaitan. Shaitan will always present to you bad things in form of good things. And here it is, I'm right. Let me tell it to her very, very clearly that what's my point. Right? Don't tell it clearly. Just stop. Stop argumentation. And then he says that do not become a duhka li shaitan. Duhka means like a reason for laughing. He will tell you something in the form of a good thing, and you will take it on, and you will start doing that evil, and he will laugh at you. Look, foolish, right? He didn't understand. I was able to deceive you. So it said, let not him become do not become the laughing stock of shaitan so that he makes fun of you. So he says, making the truth clear is a good thing when done with somebody who will accept it from you. As I said, somebody comes to talk to you and he is really sincere to take an advice from you. At that time, as I said, it is good that you talk with him. Alright. Then that will not be an argumentation, then that will be a talk, that will be a two-sided, proper, ilmi discussion. That's it. It is not because argumentation will only become argumentation when the other person is not sincere. So saying that, it will only help you, remember, what will shaitan say? Make the truth very clear, very apparent. It's saying it will only help you when the other person is in the mood of accepting that. And this is, but he's saying that can only be achieved by a sincere, honest counseling, not disputation. Not disputation. This is what I said. Then that will not be an argumentation. Then will be a proper talk, proper two-sided, honest, truthful, a human conversation. Understand? So that's what he is saying. And then he said, وَلِلنَّصِيحَةِ صِفَةً وَهَيْئَةً. That for, now talking about nasihat, counseling, is saying there is a way to do that and there is a form to that. وَيَحْتَاجُ فِيهَا إِلَى التَّلَطُّفِ وَإِلَّا صَارَتْ فَضِيحَةً. He's saying that it needs love, gentleness, talattuf, and or otherwise it will turn into just laughing, humiliation. وَكَانَ فَسَادُهَا أَكْثَرَ مِنْ صَلَاحِهَا. And he's saying that if there is no proper discussion, there is no courtesy, there is no gentleness. Yeah, gentleness is a good word. He said it requires gentleness. Discussion, nasihat, counseling, right? It requires gentleness, honesty. And if there is no honesty and there is no gentleness in counseling and two-way proper discussion, if that's not in there, then again it will turn into humiliation, and then the fasad of that will be more than its salah. The fasad, the evil of that will outweigh its good. Right? Again, he's saying that the only way that you should actually talk is when other person is sincere. It is a two-sided, proper human discussion, and that can only happen when there is sincerity on both sides. But again, he's trying to warn us, Imam Ghazali is warning us, that still stay away from the tricks of shaitan in that as well. Because now, if the two-way discussion can only happen with gentleness, right? When the tone goes up, when the words become harsh, right? You can feel it. It's saying then the good of that will go away and only the evil of that will become apparent. Understand? And then he said, وَمَنْ خَالَةَ مُتَفَقِّحَةَ الْعَصْرِ غَلَبَ عَلَى طَبْعِهِ الْمِرَاءُ وَالْجِدَالُ وَعَسُرَ عَلَيْهِ الصَّمْتُ إِذْ أَلْقَى إِلَيْهِ علماء السوء أن ذلك هو الفضل وأن والقدرة على المحاجة, possibly should have been المجادلة, والمناقشة هو الذي يمتدح به ففر منهم فرارك من الأسد واعلم أن المراء سبب المقت عند الله وعند الخلق. He's saying that whoever associates, he gets mixed up with the jurists of the time, with the scholars of the time, then will find his nature increasingly dominated by disputation and argumentation. And because this is what the fuqaha do. Two muftis sit together, right? Especially they have to discuss about a mas'ala, right? They will always have an ilmi discussion going on. Two-sided proper ilmi discussion. I just spent 1 month studying, and all the time this is what was happening, right? Just an ilmi discussion. So somebody will start something and the other person will reply back, and that conversation will go on for like half an hour, 1 hour. This is how the jurists will normally operate. This all was cooking in their head, right? Even the students who are studying in a madrasa, right? If they are really into their studies, they sit together and then they want to do takrar, and it will go on forever. They will pick up on a thing and one person will say something, and the other person will say, no, I don't think so, this is not what Ustadi said, right? So, with the jurist, this is a discussion, a two-sided discussion that's very common. He's saying that if people get mixed up with them, then sohbat ka asar, right? You always get the effect of the sohbat. And what do you pick up at the end of the day? What becomes dominant on his personality is the tabiat, is the nature of debate, of a disputation. And silence becomes difficult for him. Silence becomes very, very difficult for him. You heard that story about Mullah Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib's Khanqa, right? When Mullah Mufti Shafi Sahib reached, when he went there, along with another Mufti Sahib. Who was that? So, and Mullah Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib Khanqa was that everybody has to remain quiet. And they were given a room and they were having an ilmi discussion. So the guard came at night, please, after Isha, nobody is allowed to talk. And they kept quiet for some time. And again, something came up. And again, they started discussion. And again, the guard came. And he said, look, if you're going to talk now, I'll take your saman, I'll take your goods, and we'll put it outside the khanqa, and you'll have to leave, because you're breaking the rules. That's what happens with, when ulama, true ulama, right? They sit and they talk. But you are in their sohbat, you are in their khidmat, for example. The effect of sohbat, it will also become your personality, and it will be very, very difficult then for your personality to remain quiet. Right? And that is true for good scholars, but especially the ulama usul, the corrupt scholars, that even more so. And the difference between good scholars and the corrupt scholars, the ulama ul-haq versus ulama usul. What is that? Ulama ul-haq, I gave example of ulama ul-haq, that's true for ulama ul-haq as well. But the difference between the good scholars, the scholars of the truth, versus the corrupt scholars is that good scholars, their conversation, their discussion will always have, what was that? Talattuf, right? Gentleness, ikram of each other. They will never raise their voice. They will not disgrace anybody. They will not disrespect anybody. That's what happens, right? They will always see that. But there will be discussions. The ulama usul, the corrupt scholars, what they do is that then subhanAllah, I don't know if you have heard anybody, but there are people who actually will come to the level of dishonoring you. If you don't, there are two people talking, ulama usul, and if somebody does not agree with the other, subhanAllah, then their voices will raise, and Allahu Akbar. I've seen so-called munazaras, and some munazara has an adab. Adab hota munazare ka, right? But sometimes the voices get raised and some people will stand up and literally it become physical. Allahu Akbar. I was once looking at a munazara, somebody both people presenting their dalail, and one did not agree, and they stood up and they took the mic. The one party took the mic and they start screaming in the mic so that the other person is not able to say anything. And this is their way of proving their point. Come on, you have to prove, if you have to prove your point, you should give your dalail. You have to give your proofs. What is that? You just take over the mic and you start screaming on that, this is my dalil. So that other person, he's talking in the background as well. He's saying, this is my point, and this, both talking at the same time, and Allahu Akbar. So this is wrong. And subhanAllah, just imagine, initially I talked about the khuddam of ulama al-haq. What about their khuddam? So he's saying that, now he's actually talking about ulama usul. He's saying that if you sit in their sohbat, this disputation becomes your tabiyat, and it is so difficult to keep quiet. And he says this because ulama usul, these corrupt scholars, have influenced them to believe that disputation has merits. And that skill in argumentation and debate is what will earn them praise. That's what they have done to them. That ulama usu, that has merits. هو الفضل والقدرة على المجادلة والمناقشة هو الذي يمتده به. So it will earn them praise. That's what they say. They say to you. So Imam Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi says, run away from these scholars. Go away. Don't. If you see anybody with such a tabiat, right, that there is argumentation, raising of voices, if you are with them, know that this is not right. He says, flee away from them. Run away from them. How do you run away? فِرَارَكَ مِنَ الْأَسَدِ, just like you run away from a lion. This is how you should run away from them. He said, and know that such disputation is the means of incurring hatred, both from Allah Ta'ala and also from people. Disputation will not earn you respect anywhere. Allah Ta'ala gets displeased with you if you dispute, like the dispute that we are talking about. We've already studied like what should be right, what's right, what's wrong. And also people will hate you as well. Nobody will like you. Alright. So this was number 4. Number 5. Tazkiyatun nafs. What is Tazkiyatun nafs? Tazkiyatun nafs, I mean, we are talking about the evils of the tongue. Tazkiyatun nafs is that you calling yourself good. You praising yourself with your own tongue. That is Tazkiyatun nafs. I think did it. Yeah. So he says, فَقَدْ قَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, don't ascribe any goodness to yourself. هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى, Allah knows who has taqwa. You don't have to tell everybody that you are a very muttaqi person. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى, He is more knowing of who has taqwa. وَقِيلَ it should be either وَقَالَ بَعْدُ الْحُكَمَاءِ or وَقِيلَ لِبَعْدِ الْحُكَمَاءِ, that it has been said, or one of the wise men was asked that مَا الصِّدْقُ الْقَبِيحُ, that what is something that's true but that's still qabih, that's still bad. What is that? A wise man was one asked, what is that thing which is sidq but still qabih, which is true but that's still disliked, it was still a wild thing? So he answered, فَقَالَ ثَنَاءُ الْمَرْءِ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ, that a person's praising himself. And it is possible that he is a good person. And he says, I'm good, right? In whatever shape or form. Though it's true, might be true, but still disliked. Why? Because he is praising himself. So he says, فَإِيَّاكَ أَن تَتَعَوَّدَ ذَلِكَ. So beware of getting accustomed to doing this. وَعْلَمْ, and know, أَنَّ ذَلِكَ يَنْقُصُ مِنْ قَدْرِكَ عِنْدَ النَّاسِ وَيُوجِبُ مَقْتَكَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. فَإِذَا أَرَدْتَ أن تعرف أن ثناءك على نفسك لا يزيد في قدرك عند غيرك، فانظر إلى أقرانك إذا أثنوا على أنفسهم بالفضل والجاه والمال كيف يستنكره قلبك عليهم ويستثقله طبعك وكيف تذمهم عليه إذا فارقتهم فاعلم أنهم أيضا في حال تزكيتك نفسك لنفسك يذمونك في قلوبهم ناجزا وسيظهرونه بألسنتهم إذا فارقتهم. So he's saying that beware of getting accustomed to praising yourself, and know that it decreases the honor, it increases your honor. So the honor that people have for you, when you praise yourself, it increases your respect in the sight of people. And also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala detests that. Allah ta'ala also does not like that. Right? It will also become the source of Allah ta'ala detesting it as well. And if you wish to understand, same principle, remember we were talking about this principle yesterday, that if you want to know the qabahat of something, if you want to know the evil of something, if you know to understand that if it is wrong or right, what you are doing, then what do? Look into others. Look into others who are doing the same. Do you like it or you don't like it? It is good. It is a good thing or it's a hated thing for you. It's saying that if you wish to understand how praising yourself does not increase you in your respect with others, consider how do you feel when your people, your peers, they praise themselves for their merits, their ranks, their wealth. You know, when your peers, people around you, if they say, you know, I'm a very wealthy man, by the way, and by the way, I'm very intelligent, right? These sort of things. If they say it, do you like it? Of course, you know, he's arrogant. He's arrogant man. He's praising himself, and the arrogance is just, you can feel arrogance in his talk. You don't like it, isn't it? He said that how your heart disapproves of it, and how your nature finds it unbearable, and how once you go away from them, you criticize that, right? When you are with them, of course, you're not able to say anything, but once you leave them, you criticize that. You don't like that, right? You also don't like it in others. So he says you should realize that when you praise yourself, you too also put that dislikeness in their hearts for you. And then when they leave you, they also voice their feelings. وَسَيُظْهِرُونَهُ بِأَلْسِنَتِهِمْ إِذَا فَارَقْتَهُمْ. And soon they will also make it apparent. They will also go and talk about that with their tongues when they leave you. Right? Same will happen to you as well if you also are the one who is always praising yourself. Meri kya baat? Alright, understood? Next, the sixth thing that you should be staying away from with your tongue, which is al-la'nu, cursing people. Sending la'nat to people, cursing people. What is curse? What is la'nat? La'nat is that you make a dua for somebody, and some people, mashallah, you know, without understanding what are they doing, they actually curse themselves. People say कि जी अगर ये ना, वो कहते हैं, they say that अगर ये ना हुआ तो उस पे खुदा की लानत, यानी अपने बारे में कह रहे हैं, that if that did not happen, मेरे पे, subhanallah, you know, that they are cursing themselves that if such and such does not happen, will not happen. They curse themselves without knowing that what does it mean. La'nat, sending curse, means that you are making a dua that Allah's mercy is lifted from that person. La'nat is the opposite of rahmat. So they are making dua that Allah's rahmat, His mercy is lifted off. And subhanallah, we are living on the mercy of Allah every single second of our life. And if you make dua that mercy is lifted, how can a person live? How can a person live? So al-la'nu, cursing. He's saying, فَإِيَّاكَ أَن تَلْعَنَ شَيْئًا مِمَّا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى مِنْ حَيَوَانٍ أَوْ طَعَامٍ أَوْ إِنسَانٍ بِعَيْنِهِ. He says, beware of that you curse anything that is Allah Ta'ala has created. Anything. Be it an animal, be it a food, or be it any particular person. Never do that. Some people curse the weather. Some people curse animals, right? So, for example, you're walking on the street and suddenly a dog came and, it touched you. Or it happens. Sometimes at the airport, all of these inspector dogs, the officer dogs, they come and they will sniff you, they will possibly lick you or whatever. And people who have the dislike for the dogs, they will curse them. Or anything, maybe you're sitting and suddenly a bird flies on you and it leaves on you because he thought it's a good idea. Right? So people curse, literally curse. So he's saying, don't curse anything. Anything that is Allah Ta'ala has created. Be it an animal, be it food. Be it food, some people curse food. Or any particular person. وَلَا تَقْطَعَ بِشَهَادَتِكَ عَلَى أَحَدٍ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْقِبْلَةِ بِشِرْكٍ أَوْ كُفْرٍ أَوْ نِفَاقٍ. He's saying, also, don't swear that one of the people of Qibla is guilty of associating partners with Allah, or of disbelief, or of hypocrisy. He's a person of Qibla, he's Ahlul Qibla. He prays in the same direction as you pray, which is Kaaba. Right? He's Ahlul Qibla. He's saying, do not swear. Don't swear. Take a shahadat about anybody from Ahlul Qibla about that he is doing shirk, or he is doing kufr, or he is doing nifaq. فَإِنَّ الْمُطَّلِعَ عَلَى السَّرَائِرِ هُوَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. The only being who knows the secrets of the hearts is Allah Ta'ala. You don't know it. فَلَا تَدْخُلْ بَيْنَ الْعِبَادِ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. He's saying, don't interfere between people and Allah in their secrets with each other. I tell you one thing. Please understand this point very well. There are some deviated people, right? Min Ahlul Qibla. Call themselves Muslims, but in reality they are misguided people. Right? There are people like that. No doubt about that. And also, there are people who have such wrong aqaid that they have literally gone out of the folds of Islam. No doubt about that. But what I'm trying to tell you is, please understand this point very well. We are not allowed to do the takfir of a group. You can't say, oh, these people sitting in that room are kafirs. Because all of them have a title, have a title. Right? People have titles, right? Fala group, fala group, fala group. You cannot say, nobody can say, these people who have this title, this group of this such title sitting in that room are kafirs. Why? Because it is an aqidah thing. It is something that they believe in their heart that you have not seen. No, you've not seen what is in their heart. It is not necessary that a person A, his aqidah is the same as person B. Remember, we are talking about outwardly Muslims, right? They may have deviated aqidas, but it is not necessary that all of them have the same aqidah. One of them might have very deviated, other might be a little less than that, other less deviated than that, third person might have even lesser deviated than that, right? And one of them might be within the folds of Shariat. Yani, alright, one person has stepped outside the bounds, but the other person is at the boundary, right? But not outside. And now you call all of them kafirs. Imagine, what are you doing? It is not allowed to do takfir of a group. It is not allowed to do takfir of a group. Nahi kar sakte. Because there are all sorts of people. All sorts of people. They have the same title. I'm not taking names here. They have the same title. But you talk to people, is it this your belief? And he will say, no, no way. I respect Sahaba. Right? You wonder that a person has has a specific title, and you know about that title that they do not respect Sahaba, but you pick one of them. Do you disrespect Sahaba, ma'azallah? He'll say, no. I don't. I love all of them, right? But he has the same title. So you can't say all of them, ma'azallah, for example, are kafirs. You can't. Understand this, please. And leave it to ulam, leave it to muftis. That they will, and muftis also don't do that. I was just, when I was there and asking about a particular group to one of my teachers, that what do people say about that? And what does Darul Uloom Karachi say about that, which is one of the biggest, the iftar section of Darul Uloom Karachi is one of the best. One of the best. There are many others as well, but one of the best. And I asked them, what do the muftis of that Darul Uloom say about that? They also said that they do not do takfir of a group. They will talk to an individual on an individual basis. They will ask him of his aqidah, and then they will tell him that if you are still acceptable or not. And even if they have to say anything, give a fatwa, they say that if such and such person has such and such aqidah, then this is kufr. They will not say this group is kafir. No. They will put condition. If anybody believes in such and such thing, he has gone out of the fold of Islam. They will put a condition always. Understanding my point or not? It's because when you say somebody kafir, or you say somebody a munafiq, right? What are you doing? You're cursing him. You're cursing him. We are not allowed to do so. Be very careful about that. And anyway, it's not our job. But I'm just telling you that one of you may become a mufti tomorrow, inshallah. Right? So, we have to be very careful about that. It is not allowed to curse. He said you cannot. He's Ahlul Qibla. He's a Muslim by name. He's Muhammad. He's Ahmad. She's Zainab. She's Fatima. She's Khadija. Right? You cannot just say that, she's a kafir, or he is a kafir, or he's a munafiq. No. Or he's a mushrik. You have to know exactly what that particular person believes. And only then, if you have the proper knowledge, still I will ask you, if you tomorrow become muftis, such a masala comes to you, people ask you about that, is he still in the fold of Islam? Normally these masail come because somebody has to get married to another person, and then they want to know that this person within the fold of Islam or not? Is it even allowed for me to get married to that man or not? Right? This has only come at that time. Then, first thing first, you have to have proper knowledge if you are a mufti. But I will still, encourage you, if you become a mufti, and if such a masla comes to you tomorrow, still consult your seniors. Still consult your seniors. Take it to them. Just like a doctor. If a doctor has to do an open heart surgery on a patient, he will never make a decision on his own. He will always go and consult his seniors. This is the case. What do you say about it? And sometimes they have a panel discussion. True or not true? So, they will possibly have a panel discussion. All these doctors will sit and they will say, alright, this is the case, let's talk about it. And then they will have a whole discussion. Some may disagree, some may agree, but they'll talk about it. That's what I'm saying. Always have to go to seniors and talk to them about any sensitive issue. That's what I do as well. Sometimes a masala comes to me that I'm unable to solve, and I go to Hazrat and I say, Hazrat, this is the masala, what should I do? And then, sometimes he tells, sometimes he just sort of, leaves it to me. You handle it. Right? And then it becomes a real challenge, because now he's saying, but that's also tarbiyat, right? That's also training. Sometimes the doctors say, alright, you're doing a house job, you decide, what do you think about it? Right? Because he knows it's not that critical, possibly it's not like a life-threatening thing. So sometimes they do so as well. But anyway, understand this. We do not do takfir of a group. We cannot. When they're Muslims, outwardly Muslims. I'm saying it's a secret. Aqidah is a secret thing. Right? If anybody does takfir of a group, right, there are many who are possibly, they are within the fold of Islam. And alright, this is something that they have never expressed, but this is in their heart. And it's a secret between them and Allah. He said, don't get between Allah and His abd. Don't get in between Allah and His abd. Okay? And then he says, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّكَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ لَا يُقَالُ لَكَ لِمَا لَمْ تَلْعَنْ فُلَانًا or لِمَا سَكَتَّ عَنْهُ. He's saying that, know that on the day of judgment you will not be asked, why did you not curse or insult so and so? Why did you not insult and curse so and so? It will not be asked to you. But, or why were you silent? Or why were you silent? ये नहीं पूछा जाएगा चुप क्यों रहे थे किसी के बारे में से काफिर क्यों नहीं कहा. It will not be asked about to you on the day of judgment. بل لو لم تلعن إبليس طول عمرك ولم تشغل لسانك بذكره لم تسأل عنه. And he's saying more so, if you never once in your entire life curse Iblis, or even make mention of him, you will still be not questioned about him. कि why didn't you curse Iblis? ये भी नहीं पूछा जाएगा शैतान को क्यों नहीं बुरा भला कहा था. It will even not be asked. This will not be even asked from you on the day of judgment. لم تسأل عنه ولم تطالب به بيوم القيامة. And it will not be sought from you on the day of judgment. وإذا لعنت أحدا من خلق الله تعالى طُلِبْتَ به ولا تذم شيئا مما خلق الله تعالى. وقد كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يذم الطعام الرديء قط وكان إذا اشتهى شيئا أكله وإلا تركه. He's saying that, but if you curse somebody, you will be held responsible for that and will be questioned about that. If you don't curse anybody, you will not be asked about that. But if you do curse somebody, then you will be asked, why did you curse such and such person? And then he says, do not find fault in anything in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For indeed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never ever criticized food that was not good. He never criticized food that was not good. If the food was presented to him, and subhanAllah, many times they were not very tasty foods. There were no spices. There was nothing that they could do to make their food tasty. Like generally speaking, majority of the time. And it was presented to him, to sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that was not the best, And sometimes, of course, food is presented and it's not very tasty, right? You're not forced to eat it. He said if he liked it, he ate it. If he did not like it, he left it. That's it. But didn't say, what sort of food has been cooked. No, never. It's not that he will always eat it, right? It's not tasty. Why should I be doing it? But then rather just leave it. I won't eat. Right? If there are two things that are presented to you, one thing you like, the other you did not, right? So you eat what you like, but don't say anything, especially to your wives. Honestly. Don't do that. What sort of food did you cook? Just don't eat. Don't eat. And also, this is also from the adab of feeding guests as well. Right? First thing first, cook multiple foods. Don't just cook one food. Based on your status. Sometimes you don't have enough. Of course, you can only cook one food. That's majburi. That's okay. It's not allowed to bring this, by the way. This is what was allowed. There's a reason for that. And also in classes, only the text that we teach, that's enough. So, what was I saying? I was saying that feeding the guests, food to guests, number one, you should cook multiple foods if you can. And then, don't force your guest to eat something. Don't force it. Nahi, aap ye zarur khaye. You must eat it. Don't do that. Because everybody has their own taste. You know, he may like this and he does not like that. And he knows the sunnat and he tasted it, didn't like it that much, and then he's kept it on the side and he's eating something, right? Out of 5 foods that you have cooked, he's putting only one. No, why don't you try that? Why don't you put more of that? It's not his mizaj. Don't force him that you must eat that food. Bilkul bhi nahi. That's against the adab of the guests. Understand? So, but don't curse the food. That's the point. Don't curse the food. 7th thing. The 7th thing that you should not do with your tongue, which is ad-du'a'u ala al-khalqi. Supplication against creation, but dua, as we say it in Urdu. Making bad dua against people. Supplication, dua against creation. So it says, فَحْفَظْ لِسَانَكَ عَنِ الدُّعَاءِ عَلَى أَحَدٍ مِّنْ خَلْقِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. Guard your tongue from making dua against anybody from the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not necessarily of human, but rather any creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِن ظَلَمَكَ, فَكِلْ أَمْرَهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. He's saying that even if he has wronged you, still don't make bad dua for him. Still do not make supplication against him. And he's saying that leave the matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Leave the matter to Allah. If somebody oppresses you, don't make bad dua against him. Leave it to Allah. Let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala handle it if other person is oppressing you. فَفِي الْحَدِيثِ, and in the hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, إِنَّ الْمَظْلُومَ لَيَدْعُو عَلَى ظَالِمِهِ حَتَّى يُكَافِئَهُ ثُمَّ يَبْقَى لِلظَّالِمِ فَضْلٌ عِنْدَهُ يُطَالِبُ بِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. He's saying, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that indeed the oppressed, the mazloom, when he prays against the oppressor until he takes his right, then continues to the point where the oppressor has a claim over it, which he will demand on the Day of Judgment. Yani somebody oppressed you, and now you're making dua against him. A time came then it's equal. Now you're still doing it. Now you have become the zalim and he has become the oppressed, and when he becomes the oppressed, then we'll claim that from you on the Day of Judgment. And that holds true not only with the dua, but also that, for example, somebody spoke with you in a wrong, bad tone. He cursed you. Now you decide to take revenge, right? Seek it. Ideally, in a sort of just environment, you can take revenge. Qisas is okay, right? So you do the same. So for example, he has spoken to you in a bad way with a tone 5. Say for example, tone 5, right? 1 being the low tone, 10 being the highest tone, tone 5. And he has used 10 bad words against you of intensity 5, right? Tone 5, 10 bad words of intensity 5. Now you decide to also speak against him, take a revenge. Now, if your tone becomes 6, or you used 11 words with intensity 6, right? You can't control that. Once you are taking revenge, you are mad. You are not able to control it. You become mad person. Now, who becomes zalim? You become zalim, he becomes mazloom. Understand? And now, you will be held responsible on the Day of Judgment. He can actually claim against you on the Day of Judgment. And that holds for dua as well. when you make bad dua against somebody, a time will come that all of what the wrongs that the other person has done to you, you will get that. But then you make another dua, and you never know, right? When are you going to be recompensed for what you have done, and when are you transgressing? When are you going overbound? But now you're asking for something that's more than he will be able to claim that against you on the Day of Judgment. So, what's better? Better don't supplicate against him. Leave it. Leave the matter to Allah. Ya Allah, I leave it to you. You please take care of me. That's the best thing. And he said, وَطَوَّلَ بَعْدُ النَّاسِ لِسَانَهُ عَلَى الْحَجَّاجِ فقال بعد السلف إن الله لا ينتقم للحجاج ممن تعرض له بلسانه كما ينتقم من الحجاج لمن ظلمه. He's saying a person once spoke out at length against Hajjaj, like the Hajjaj bin Yusuf. And one of the pious predecessors, one of the Aslaf, he said to him that Allah Ta'ala will take revenge for Hajjaj against those who attacked him verbally, just as he will take revenge against Hajjaj for those whom he has oppressed. Somebody spoke against Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Hajjaj bin Yusuf was a very oppressive ruler, right? And he had killed a lot of ulama, he killed a lot of awliya, and if somebody spoke against him, so one of the pious people, he heard that, and he said that Allah Ta'ala will also take that person into account who spoke against Hajjaj, just like Allah Ta'ala will take account of Hajjaj again for those who he has oppressed. So you are oppressing Hajjaj now. You are oppressing Hajjaj now. Just like he oppressed others, you are oppressing him. الثامن. The eighth thing that we should be careful about with our tongue. Al-mizahu, joking. Was-sukhriyatu, ridiculing others. Wal-istihza'u bin-nas, making fun of people. It's saying, فَحْفَظْ لِسَانَكَ مِنْهُ. Keep your tongue away from it. Guard your tongue from that. From what? Mizah. When we talk about joke, we talk about joke that's outside the bounds of Sharia. Prophet ﷺ also had, he had light moments. He shared light moments with people, to make people's heart happy, right? But that was within bounds. He never used any lewd language. He did not lie in his light language, right? He always was within the bounds of Shariat. So the mizah, we are talking about that mizah which goes outside the bounds of Shariat. And also ridiculing people. Maskhara bazi Urdu mein kehte hain, right? Kisi ko zaleel karna. It's the joke in a way that you are actually making fun of. You ridicule people. You ridicule people. And istihza, making fun of people. All of that, like more or less, are interrelated. That's why he's put it as the 8th point. He's saying, keep yourself away from that. Keep your tongue away from that. He's saying, at all the times, fil jiddi wal hazali, yani even if you are serious or even if you are joking. Sometimes jokingly you make fun of people. He said, don't do that. And even, of course, more so in seriousness. Right? He said, فَإِنَّهُ يُرِيقُ مَاءَ الْوَجْهِ وَيُسْقِطُ الْمَهَابَةَ. He's saying, because you may lose your face and diminish people's respect for you. You will lose your face. People will not honor and respect you anymore. And also, basically it's the same thing. People will not respect you anymore if you make fun of them. You will lose your grace, in other words. You will lose your haibat. He said, وَيُسْقِطُ الْمَهَابَةَ. Your haibat, your awe in front of people will be gone if you do so. He said, وَيَسْتَجِرُّ al-wahshiyata. And it will cause people to have wahshat for you. You know, they will averse from you. They will go away from you. People will not like you anymore. And saying, what are you doing? وَيُؤْذِي الْقُلُوبَ. You're hurting people's hearts. And saying, وَهُوَ مَبْدَأُ اللَّجَاجِ وَالْغَضَبِ وَالتَّصَارُمِ. That's a start, or that's a source of a disputation and anger and falling out with one another, right? When you make fun of another person, then what happens? Then a dispute will start, or somebody will get angry, or people will, fall out with each other. That's what will happen. Even, that's also true with close people as well. Sometimes friends, they don't think that there is any harm in doing so. Please understand this. Sometimes friends don't think that there is any harm in doing so. And even husband, wives as well. Sometimes, and if there is friendship between husband and wives, and there should be friendship, but that friendship also goes over the bound. What happens? They actually cross the limits of respecting each other. These things happen when people do not respect each other. Then they make fun of each other. Joking is okay, but then don't make fun of them in that joking. You look at your face, you're looking like a monkey. You're looking like a monkey, right? Bandar ki tarah lag rahe ho. Right? What sort of dress are you wearing? People take these sort of names. I'm just giving you examples. Or they will attribute the face of a person to somebody that people generally don't like, right? Hamari shakal to aise lag, us shakhs ki tarah lag rahi hai. They're just saying it jokingly. But now this said, you have crossed the bounds of joking. You're making fun of somebody. And other person does not like it. And more so if you attribute people's children to such sort of things. What sort of dress is he wearing today? Right? He is looking like, and you take a name of an animal, of some personality. Very bad. Ask the heart of a mother when you say such a thing to her child. She loves him. And she doesn't like that such things are said to their children. Of course. Even if you are her friend. It's wrong thing. Ghalat cheez hai. And what will happen? People will not like you anymore. Right? You are actually turning people away from you. This becomes the source of disputation. Now if the mother, she doesn't like it, how come did you say that to my child, even if she is her friend, right? And she will get angry. This will become the source of anger, and this will be the source of falling out with each other, right? And now this will implant hatred in the hearts. That's what he says. وَيَغْرِسُ الْحِقْدُ فِي الْقُلُوبِ. The hatred will be implanted in the heart. So it says, فَلَا تُمَازِحْ أَحَدًا. So don't make fun of anybody, please. Nobody, even if she's your wife or your husband. And especially, I tell you another thing. That's what I've learned from Hazrat. Don't do that generally, especially in front of your in-laws. In other words, don't do it in front of your parents. Don't do it in front of his in-laws or her in-laws. Like, for example, you go to, it's your parents' house, husband's parents' house. Don't make fun of your wife in front of your parents or in front of your family. Don't do that. And likewise, wives should not make fun of her husband in front of her parents or her brothers and sisters. That's the worst. That's the peak of that. Other person does not like that. No, not at all. Because you know what? He or she will feel that they have made a jamaat against me. Now they are all relatives together, parent, husband, wives, the parents, daughter, parents, son, or brother, sister, they've all gotten together and all have turned against me. And now shaitan will come in and will cause that hatred between the husband and wife. It's not good. Understand, please. And generally speaking also, don't cross bounds and limits with anybody, and especially husband-wives. There always have to be that little gap, despite of all the love and all the friendship between you and your wife, or you or your friend, right? There should always be that small little distance between the two, and that distance is the distance of respect. Don't cross that bound. Don't cross that limit. Please. Muhabbat apni jagah, izzat apni jagah. Right? Love has its own place, and respect has its own place. Koi bhi ho, anybody. Please, it's important. Otherwise, shaitan will come in and will cause hatred. People get angry, people fall out with each other. So he's saying, don't make fun of anybody. So he's saying, وَإِنْ مَازَحَكَ فَإِنْ مَازَحَكَ أَحَدًا فَلَا تُجِبْهُ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِ. He's saying, if somebody else makes fun of you, فَإِنْ مَازَحَكَ أَحَدٌ فَلَا تُجِبْهُ. If somebody else makes fun of you, فَإِنْ مَازَحَكَ أَحَدٌ فَلَا تُجِبْهُ. Don't respond to him. Don't reply back to him. If somebody makes fun of you, don't reply back to him. وَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ. And stay away from him. حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِ. Until they start talking about something else. Alright? Stop. Just be patient. Be patient. Sabr kare. And then, of course, when you will not respond, they will say a thing or two or three, right? And then they know that you are not responding, Some people will say, this was just a joke, you got serious. Alright, that's fine. See, let them say whatever they say, and a time will come and they will say, you're bored, right? That's what they will say, you're bored. And then let's talk about something else. आपने तो दिल ही पे ले लिया जी, ठीक है, alright. Of course, somebody making fun of you, joking is something, making fun of you is something else. You don't like that when somebody makes fun of you. But you should not be that bored that if somebody jokes with you within the bounds, then you also don't laugh. That's also a wrong thing. Right? So you have to understand, joking is something, and making fun is something else. मजाक करना और मजाक उड़ाना, ये दो मुख्तलिफ चीजें हैं. मजाक करना चाहिए, मजाक उड़ाना नहीं चाहिए. That is exactly the difference. Joking and making fun. Joking is good, it's okay, as far as it is within the bounds of Shariat. No lying, no lewd talk, nothing that's wrong from Sharia perspective. Otherwise, it's good to have light moments, right? This is sunnah. But don't make fun. And if somebody makes fun of you, don't respond back. Please be patient if it hurts you, and just ignore the comments that people make, and a time will come they will start talking about something else because they feel that you're a bore person. But that's fine, it's okay. So don't, وَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ, stay away from them, until they start talking about something else. And then he says, وَكُنْ مِنَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, when Allah Ta'ala talks about the khususiyat of Ibadur Rahman, right? One of them is what? وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. When they pass by idle talk, they pass by it with dignity. With dignity, with respect. Right? They don't get indulged into that. They just pass by it with dignity, with respect, keeping within the bounds of Shariah. So these were the 8 things that Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala is saying that you should make sure that you safeguard your tongue from these 8 things. What were those 8 things? As, let's repeat. Number 1, lying. Number 2, breaking the promise. Number 3, backbiting. Number 4, argumentation, debates. Disputation. Number 5, self-praise. Number 6, cursing, Number 6, dua al-khalq, curse, cursing, it was not both. Now cursing people. Number 7, making supplication against people, but dua dena. Number 8, making fun of people. Alright? So he's saying these are the 8 things that you should make sure that you must keep your tongue away from these 8 things. So he's saying, فَهَذِهِ مَجَامِعُ آفَاتِ اللِّسَانِ. These 8 things comprise the calamities of the tongue. He's saying, وَلَا يُعِينُكَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا الْعُزْلَةُ. He's saying, nothing will help you against them except, solitude. أو ملازمة الصمت or something. He's saying, or forcing yourself to be silent. He's saying that if you want to train your tongue to stay away from all of this, he's giving a solution to that. Remain in isolation as much as you can. Because if you have the habit of talking a lot, more you interact with people, difficult it will be for you to control your tongue, right? So if you want to stay away from this, if you want to train your tongue from staying away from any of these, and people have different issues, right? My issue might be lying. Your issue might be making fun of people. He's saying whatever issue. Now he has highlighted, these are the 8 things that you must keep your tongue away from. So how do you train yourself? Number 1, stay away from people for some time. And learn to remain silent. Force yourself to be silent. Force yourself to be silent. وَلَا يُعِينُكَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا الْعُزْلَةُ أَوْ مُلَازَمَةُ الصَّمْتِ إِلَّا بِقَدْرِ ضُرُورَةِ. Of course you cannot cut off from people except according to the needs. Of course you have to meet with people, talk to the people, but while you are in that training mode, right, you only interact with people according to zarurat, according to the need, according to the necessity. This is faqad, not faqad. So فقد كان أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله تعالى عنه يدع حجرا في فيه ليمنعه ذلك من الكلام بغير ضرورة. He's saying that indeed Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he used to put stone in his mouth. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, he used to put a pebble, a stone in his mouth so as to stop that from speaking without any need. Subhanallah. And the tongue generally will slip, right? We spoke about it yesterday. The tongue does not have a bone. It just slips. If you don't control it, it will just continue talking. So, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq will put a stone on his tongue. Now you know there is something. So, in order to talk, you have to actually remove that, right? He's saying he will keep a stone in his mouth to keep his tongue away from unnecessary talking. Allah. So that, subhanallah. He's saying, وَيَشِيرُ إِلَى لِسَانِهِ, and he used to point towards his tongue. وَيَقُولُ, and he used to say, هَذَا الَّذِي أَوْرَدَنِي الْمَوَارِدِ. He's saying, this is what has brought troubles upon me. This tongue is something that has caused me troubles, so, that's why I do that. فَاحْتَرِزْ مِنْهُ بِجَهْدِكَ. So he's saying that guard against your tongue with your struggle. فَإِنَّهُ أَقْوَى أَسْبَابِ هَلَاكِكَ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ, because this is the biggest means of your destruction in this dunya and the akhirah. Tongue is the biggest means of destruction for you in this dunya and the hereafter. And that's why we mentioned that hadith yesterday. Prophet ﷺ said, Man samata naja. Whoever keeps quiet, who has a habit of not talking a lot, he will be saved. So it's good that we finished this topic of lisan. So then we will be doing adab al-batan, stomach, and then faraj, yadain, rijlain, and ma'as al-qalb, hasad, riya, kibr, fakhr. I think even if you're able to do these, I think that will be a good achievement. Although, and inshallah ta'ala, we can do the rest in the next year's intensive. The focus is on what? Next year's intensive, not in the 6-month leave. Right? So, subhanAllah, when these intensives come, one of the challenges that I have, I'm not finished yet, my friend. This is also what we are doing, learning I'm talking. People must not start talking while the teacher is talking. Any teacher. So, one of the challenges that I always have in doing these intensives is that what I should be covering. And by the way, may Allah give Jazaak Khair to one of my friends, the Shaykh. I was talking to him, I'm planning to do an intensive. What should I be doing? He actually recommended this. He said, this is something that you should do. And then I looked at what is covered in this. I really liked it. And subhanAllah, we left the first portion of it already, the first bab, and looks like that we will not be able to complete the second bab as well. And there is another as well, the third. So inshallah, I will not have to think about the next. So we'll cover that. It's a beautiful text, mashallah. But the whole point is that we have to implement this. We are not here wasting our time. Inshallah, break for 15 minutes.